considered why businesses in a specific industry tend to use a specific color for their brand. Believe it or not, color theory plays a big role in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Humans tend to associate different colors with different feelings. For example, blue is typically related to trust and loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
This is why insurance companies like Aflac and Progressive tend to use blue for their main color.
Mm-hmm.
Another example is red. Red typically suggests feelings of hunger or thirst, influencing people to get food.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this graphic, would you guys say that your feelings about the brands shown align with the psychology behind the color that they're using?
I never realized how many insurance companies were blue till I heard that.
For real.
Because seriously, it's locally, it's on a national level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every single one that I can think of,
Definitely.
except for a select few, are blue. And it's the same thing with fast food, right? Like so many fast food restaurants use red.
Yeah.
And I think it's totally fitting too. It's like an exciting, kind of like how we talked about before, hunger is an immediate, it's like an urgency, a sense of urgency. And then seeing Target on there too, I feel like a lot of your typical mom girl aesthetic is Target's a experience. It's good place to go get good fun happy vibes, I guess. You know?
And there are studies out there that show that claim that red can boost your metabolism and stuff like that, so it encourages hunger.
Yeah, that's interesting as well.
Going back to the excitement of red, I'm seeing Nintendo, YouTube, Netflix, and Lego in there. So forms of entertainment also.
Yes. Super fitting.
And a lot of just food brands in general, Lay's chips. Who doesn't get excited over Lay's chips? I know I do.
Definitely.
Or Friendly, you see Nickelodeon in there for kids.
Oh, for orange, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think they definitely all totally align with the colors that they're fitting into.
Right.
I think those categories are very accurate, I would say. So
yeah, I'm trying to quickly scan through to see if I can find that.
There's a lot to take in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because before I had seen this chart, you wouldn't think you wouldn't connect the dots that a lot of food chains are in red. But then you look on here and you're oh my gosh, the Chick-fil-A, McDonald's even has red, Dairy Queen, it just keeps going and you're oh, it all kind of makes sense, you know?
Well, let me show you guys a quick example. Chick-fil-A, their main color is red, which we established is hunger, thirst, excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would make a difference if they changed it to say blue? Do you think that would drastically change your view of their brand?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, it's hard because we all see Chick-fil-A, we're associated with the red, but if it didn't say Chick-fil-A, I definitely don't feel the urgency. It just feels, it doesn't.
It makes me feel calm. Why would I want fast food to make me feel?
Right. I trust them. Don't want their food though.
I'm trying to think if there's a fast food restaurant that
Culver's has blue.
Oh, you're right.
That's kind of the only one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, but it's not necessarily even. It's a darker blue, which I wonder if that.
Yeah.
You have to wonder why brands make the choices that they make because everything is deep. Everything is deep.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind everything. It's all thought out.
Mm-hmm.
So really even this, how do you guys feel about looking at this?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it feels right.
No, it doesn't.
The red Chick-fil-A works better. Maybe it's because they're using a chicken there, and the
right.
chicken is typically red, so maybe they played on that too.
Yeah, but I'm also a frequent Chick-fil-A flyer, so this just makes me uncomfortable.
But then I'm also thinking about beyond the logo, the inside of a restaurant. Mm-hmm. I picture red booths, red. I don't picture a blue. I don't know.
Right, the old McDonald's ones.
Yeah.
Where they used to have a tile floor.
Yeah.
This is also a really great thing to think about when people are considering rebranding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of companies just kind of jump into a rebrand and everyone kind of freaks out, reasonably so, because it's not what they're used to and it's not what they associate with your brand.
Right. Definitely.
Well, going along with the brand.
Yeah.
When branding your company, it's important to have a palette of colors that you frequently use so your audience can start to form a sense of brand recognition whenever they see your content. This is what we call a brand kit. And they're helpful for creating content so that your posts have features that are similar and unique to your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you guys think having a brand kit is beneficial, and what are some ways you can use your brand kit to help create content?
Yeah, I think a brand kit is definitely beneficial because it helps you distinguish your color and make your page unique to yourself. You don't want to have a bunch of different colors all over your stuff. You want to have your few your primary colors, some secondary colors, and then some fonts. What establishes you? like this Chick-fil-A font, for example, like could you recognize it if it was a different font? Maybe not, maybe from reading it, but like that like font in itself definitely distinguishes
You
their brand.
associate it with
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
People underestimate, psychology and, aesthetics are so important. When somebody opens up like your Instagram page and the stuff is mismatchy or whatever, you're just kind of like, eh.
Also, if like your post, if someone's scrolling through and they see your colors flash through, that would catch their attention. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this is a Chick-fil-A post. This is a post from the marketing minds of tomorrow." Like,
right.
using
that
their
helps
brand
them
colors.
distinguish.
Exactly.
Yes, for sure. And this is especially important, like with when you're in a competitive market too. Like
Right.
you don't want, like, of course, like looking at the colors, like red being like urgent, excited. Like of course, a lot of fast foods do have that red, but they also have it tweaked to like a different extent. Like McDonald's has red, but also like the golden arches, like the yellow. Dairy Queen has red, but also blue. Like it's just kind of a little bits and pieces.
Colors.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
and ultimately, it's the combination of colors that you select that make your brand
for sure. Yeah,
and define who you are. So select wisely.
Yeah,
select wisely.
It's like you definitely need more than one color. You
yeah,
know? Gives you more room for opportunity within designs too.
Right.
Expand your palette so it makes it easier to make posts if you can have more stuff to go
Definitely.
Well, going off of how to use multiple colors, how to pick those multiple
I'm
colors.
just perfectly segueing.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're setting me up for these segues. I want to move over to the color wheel. Once you started creating a brand kit and you have a main color picked out, it may be hard to come up with those other colors to match to it. Referencing a color wheel at this point in the process could help a lot because using the color wheel, you can look across to see complementary colors, and you can use it to start to form those secondary, the third colors, or however many colors you want for your brand.
Takes me right back to kindergarten.
Yes.
My question to you guys is, what are some other ways you think people can use the color wheel to form their brand kit, to form this color?
I think the biggest thing for me is like tone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tone is big.
You want to use things that are in the same tone.
Yes,
For
for
the most
sure.
part.
And then kind of to build on like the complementary colors, what Connor was saying, I feel like a lot of schools are really good about doing complementary. Like you think of Platteville, the blue and the orange.
Yep.
And you think of a lot of high schools around my area were like the purple and yellow. And it's just, or like NFL teams too, like the Vikings, they have that purple and
The
yellow
Bears
going on.
have
Yeah.
Well, let's not talk about the Vikings.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. But like just like a good way that they can utilize that palette, and then they can even just add a lighter tone. If you establish like your purple and yellow, for example, you can do multiple different forms of purple and yellow too, just to kind of build on that.
Or even like holiday type colors. Like,
Yes.
What's the first thing you think of when you think of red and green?
Christmas.
Yes.
So these colors help associate.
I feel like
Yes.
that's something important to keep in mind too. Like you decide that your brand's colors are going to be red and green, like people are going to associate you with Christmas.
Right.
For the most part, if you don't throw other things in there. Yeah.
Which can be beneficial, but like obviously Christmas.
If you're a
all year
Christmas
round.
focused
Right,
brand,
right.
like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's,
for sure.
it's like you have to keep a lot of things in mind when you're trying to select your colors because everything is intentional.
Yes, definitely would agree with that.
All right, now moving away from the color wheel, the last topic I want to touch on regarding color theory is how to apply your brand kit to your posts. When creating a post, we like to suggest that clients use similar styles throughout their content, so their content feels like it was produced by one entity. This doesn't mean every post looks the same, but you don't want to make drastic changes when representing your content. My question to you guys is, what are some ways you think brands can modify their posts to create a style that is unique to them?
I would literally just say utilizing their brand kit. Like I think creating an aesthetic on your page of like your colors, your theme is a perfect way to make people distinguish who you are, kind of make everything like flow together well too. And just like ultimately creating that like aesthetic for viewers.
And if like you're struggling to create a brand kit, one thing I always recommend is Canva.
Yeah.
They do a really great job of like they have such a large selection of fonts for you to use and like colors and stuff, and you can really find what works for you and your posts. And a nice tool about Canva is I can literally make a brand kit right there, and you can apply it to all of your posts. So they make it really easy.
I think another thing that people can focus on for their style is their photo editing.
Yeah.
If you're going to edit your photos, don't do drastically different styles.
Right.
Like don't brighten one up and your next post is super dark.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have dimmer photos in your posts, keep the dim photo style going throughout.
That's true.
So that it's just like if people are familiar with their posts, their posting style, it's like you see a post and it's like oh, I know it's from that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about aesthetics because, you know, if you're on Instagram and you're just looking through someone's open feed and everything's like mismatched and you're kind of like, ugh.
Right. Yeah, aesthetics and consistency for sure.
Mm-hmm.